What if I told you there was an NBA season where one player was so dominant, teams started drafting players whose only job was to commit fouls against him, where coaches designed entire defensive schemes around just making him shoot free throws, where a man shot 38% from the line in the finals and still averaged 38 points. In 2000, Shaquille O'Neal wasn't just the best player in the NBA, he was the most dominant force the league had seen since Wilt Chamberlain. 7'1", 325 pounds, with footwork like a guard and strength that broke backboards. He didn't win MVP by outscoring everyone, he overpowered the entire league. This wasn't just Shaq at his best, this was Shaq at peak dominance. Drafted number 1 overall in 1992, Shaquille O'Neal immediately changed the direction of the Orlando Magic. He brought instant success, leading the team to a 41-41 record in his rookie year after they'd just won 21 games the season before. In 1993, the Magic pulled off one of the most shocking draft lottery jumps ever, landing the number 1 pick for the second straight year. Shaq pushed hard for Penny Hardaway, but Orlando initially drafted Chris Webber before flipping him for Hardaway and extra draft capital. Just 2 years later, the Magic stormed their way to the NBA Finals, knocking out Michael Jordan and Reggie Miller along the way.
Here comes Hardaway. No look to O'Neal. O'Neal again.
Hardaway down the lane, scoops it up, doesn't go. Rebound, O'Neal.
Nice little drop. Back to Shaquille O'Neal, the leader. Utah.
Shaq was a force that postseason, averaging 25.7 points, 11.9 rebounds, and 1.9 blocks across 21 games. But despite his dominance, the finals ended in a sweep at the hands of Hakeem Olajuwon and the Houston Rockets. A humbling experience that stuck with him for years. "Me and Penny had the perfect cake," O'Neal said. "The icing was wrong." What I meant by that, we did everything I just talked about. Be aggressive, play hard. By the time we made it to the finals, guess what? We beat Jordan to get there, so we're so happy. We got 9 days off, we're partying, we're doing pre-parades, we're out at restaurants, everybody's clapping. And we kind of let our guard down against a team nobody thought about. A team that had won the year before, and they were looking to go back to back. I always said to myself, if I ever get back, don't get happy until the job's done. Prophetic words from the Diesel. Fast forward to the summer of 1996. Shaq hit free agency, and at first it looked like he would stay in Orlando. The Magic seemed destined to dominate the Eastern Conference for years, even after being swept by the resurgent Chicago Bulls in that year's conference finals. But behind the scenes, not everything was smooth in Orlando. Shaq was growing tired of constant scrutiny, from his music and movie ventures to criticism about his conditioning and free throw shooting, even down to the personal life choices he made off the court. Local media hammered him relentlessly, and the Magic's front office, they did not make things better. At one point, executives told Shaq they couldn't offer him more money than Penny Hardaway because it might make Penny uncomfortable. Hearing this, Shaq called up Lakers GM Jerry West and made it clear he wanted Los Angeles. When reports leaked that the Lakers were ready to give O'Neal $98 million, Orlando suddenly changed course and offered to match. Funny how Penny's comfort wasn't an issue anymore once Shaq had one foot out the door. Meanwhile, Alonzo Mourning had just signed a $110 million deal with the Miami Heat. Shaq, confident he was the better player, wanted to be paid accordingly. Jerry West upped the ante, offered a massive $121 million contract. Shaq signed it, and the Magic lost one of the greatest centers in NBA history. The Magic had a chance to lock up a dynasty. Instead, they nickel and dimed their way into NBA infamy. That same summer, Jerry West pulled off one of the all-time great draft day trades, acquiring the rights to Kobe Bryant in exchange for Vlade Divac. With Nick Van Exel, Eddie Jones, Eldon Campbell, Shaquille O'Neal, and a teenage Kobe Bryant, the Lakers thought their future was set. But before they became a dynasty, they first had to go through growing pains. When Big Diesel first arrived to Los Angeles, Del Harris was the man in charge. The problem with Harris? The players didn't respect him. His practices were often loose, with little emphasis on defensive principles or structured schemes. Harris leaned on talent alone, believing he could just hand the ball to his stars and let them figure it out. Worse, he frequently got into shouting matches with players, and when it came to Kobe Bryant, Harris was determined to make the young prodigy earn his minutes, sticking him behind veterans and forcing him into a defensive stopper role. The veterans respected it, but team owner Jerry Buss and Jerry West didn't. Management wanted Kobe on the floor, learning and maturing through experience. Still, if Harris had been winning, he would have survived. But the Lakers' playoff track record told a different story. Eliminated in 5 games by the Jazz in 1997, swept by the Jazz again in 1998. By the time the 98-99 season started, 6-6, Harris was out. Kurt Rambis took over. The players loved Rambis as an assistant, but when he moved into the head coach's chair, things changed. Shaq felt Rambis was putting on an act instead of being himself. Meanwhile, under pressure from management, Rambis unleashed Kobe, letting him play through mistakes without much emphasis on team play. It was the polar opposite of Harris, and once again, the balance was off. The Lakers were swept by the Spurs in the 1999 Western Conference Finals, and Shaq wasted no time making his demands clear. He wanted his kind of coach. His shortlist? Chuck Daly, Bob Hill, and Phil Jackson. The Lakers chose Jackson, and from day one, his presence brought instant respect. He didn't waste time setting the tone either. As O'Neal recalled, one of the first things Jackson told the team was, "Listen, if Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen didn't have egos, didn't talk back to me, none of you guys should ever say shit to me, period." For Shaq, after years of bouncing between coaching styles and locker room drama, this was exactly the leadership he needed. Jackson didn't just bring rings, he brought order to chaos. He turned a talented circus into a championship machine. By the 99-2000 season, O'Neal was a new man. Healthy for the first time since 1995, he put nagging thumb, knee, and abdominal injuries behind him. What followed wasn't just a bounce back, it was domination on a level the modern NBA had never seen. Phil Jackson inherited a wrecking ball of a center, already a perennial All-NBA force, but he didn't just see brute strength, he saw untapped potential, greatness waiting for structure, and shaping that into a championship player became one of Jackson's defining challenges. Shaq's pretty hard-headed, there's no doubt about it, Jackson said, but it was pretty easy to be positive with him because everything in the triangle system looks to get the ball in the middle. You're looking to find the ball in the post, get the ball inside, and see the best penetration way to get the ball close to the basket. That's the goal of almost every game. The triangle offense was designed to feed the interior, and with O'Neal as the centerpiece, it became unstoppable. The question wasn't about talent, Shaq already had that. The challenge was consistency, conditioning, and channeling his game into a system built on discipline. Because when you combine Shaq's power with Jackson's system, you didn't just get dominance, you got peak Shaquille O'Neal. In his first season under Phil Jackson and the triangle offense, Shaq was unstoppable. He led the league in scoring at 29.7 points per game while shooting 57% from the field and carried the Lakers on winning streaks of 19, 16, and 11 games. The Lakers finished the regular season 67-15, their best record since the Showtime era. But the moment everything truly clicked came on Shaq's birthday, March 6, 2000, against the Clippers. Former Laker legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, then serving as the Clippers' assistant coach, had been critical of O'Neal's game leading into the matchup and even gave tips to his big men on how to guard him. None of it worked. Shaq destroyed every single defender they threw his way. The night became unforgettable for another reason. As Shaq recalled, "Kobe is giving it up and I keep scoring. Now I'm at 59 points and Kobe penetrates and people think he ain't gonna get it to me. What does he do? He doesn't even think twice. Feeds me for my 61st point, the most I ever scored in an NBA game. On my birthday too. My plan was, if I get 61, I'm gonna come down and shoot the three. So I get it, and the crowd is going crazy. I'm dribbling across half court and I stop. I look at the basket, but I see Kobe breaking toward the rim. So I threw him a lob. He catches it, cocks it back, throws down a reverse alley-oop dunk.
He's dribbling the ball. He knows what's going on in his 28th birthday. Into the Kobe. Shaq gets the assist, and Kobe makes a spectacular underneath. 117.
That was my way of showing Kobe, thanks for helping me get 61. This one's for you. Once we did that together, we were tight. We bonded that night. That was the birth of a championship team. The playoffs were still a month and a half away, but the chemistry, trust, and belief were finally in place. Shaq didn't just lead the league in scoring, his gravity reshaped the game. Defenses collapsed around him, shooters got open, and the triangle offense could breathe because he demanded so much attention. Phil Jackson explained it best. With Shaq, it was more about getting yourself ready to play for a duration. The 99-2000 season became O'Neal's high-water mark for endurance. He averaged 40 minutes per game across 79 games, and even more in the postseason. It was a grind, but the Lakers needed him on the floor. His presence not only anchored both ends, but gave the team a psychological edge. With Shaq out there, LA wasn't just good, they were terrifying. Still, Jackson had to carefully manage him. Unlike Michael Jordan, who thrived off endless competition, or Kobe, who lived in the gym, Shaq required balance, protecting his body while sharpening his edge. The result? One of the most dominant playoff runs in league history, and Shaq had one more source of motivation fueling him. He averaged 29.7 points, 57.4% shooting, 13.6 rebounds, 3 blocks, and a career-high 3.8 assists, while leading the Lakers to the league's best record by more than 10 wins. He should have been the first unanimous MVP in NBA history, but one voter stopped him. CNN's Fred Hickman gave his vote to Allen Iverson, and Shaq never forgot it.
I think that year I averaged 29, played 79 games, MVP by far. I actually would have made history, but some idiot in Atlanta, I wish I could say his name because I would call him an idiot to his face, he messed up history. I would have been the first ever unanimous decision MVP. But this idiot, got his name?
Fred Hickman.
Yeah, Fred Hickman, idiot, gives 2 votes to Allen Iverson and he messes up history. Idiot.
Although the Lakers were favourites to reach the finals, the road wasn't without drama. In round 1, they jumped out to a 2-0 lead on the Kings, but dropped the next 2 in Sacramento. With the pressure on, they responded in Game 5 with a 113-86 rout to move on. The second round against the Phoenix Suns was more straightforward. The Lakers steamrolled them 4-1, their only stumble coming in Game 4. Then came the Western Conference Finals against the Portland Trail Blazers. Game 1 turned when Rasheed Wallace got ejected after 2 technicals, and the Lakers took advantage. But in Game 2, Portland answered with a 106-77 beatdown, the Lakers' worst home loss of the year. Los Angeles bounced back with 2 straight wins in Portland to take a 3-1 series lead, but they got too comfortable. Led by Scottie Pippen, the Blazers fought back with consecutive wins to force a Game 7 at Staples Center. That night became one of the most iconic moments in Lakers history. Down 13, entering the 4th quarter, the Lakers stormed back. The comeback was capped by Kobe Bryant's lob to Shaquille O'Neal for a thunderous alley-oop that shook the building to its core.
3 timeouts left, the Lakers have 2. Bryant to Shaq! Seconds left. LA has outscored Portland 25.
For Shaq, it was a career-defining moment. He'd been in the league for 8 years, reached the finals once in Orlando and fallen short. This time, he was determined to prove he could carry a team to a championship. The Indiana Pacers quickly learned what that looked like. Shaq opened the finals with back-to-back 40-point games, 43 points and 19 rebounds in Game 1, followed by 40 points and 24 rebounds in Game 2. He added 4 assists and 3 blocks in each outing, and more importantly, 2 Lakers wins. Donnie Walsh, then Pacers president of basketball operations, pointed out it wasn't just Shaq's dominance on the block that overwhelmed them. I remember watching him come down the court on a fast break. At the last second, he basically put his right foot down and cut hard to his left. The power, the speed, I don't know how he doesn't break joints. He was that strong. Nobody could stop him. Reggie Miller admitted the Pacers had no solution. We have no answer for Shaq. We're not going to have any answer in this series. What we're going to do? We're just going to hack a Shaq, and he's going to have to make free throws. In Game 2 alone, O'Neal went to the line a staggering 39 times. Indiana refused to fold though. With Kobe sidelined by an ankle injury, the Pacers grabbed Game 3 behind an early 11-2 run and Reggie Miller's clutch free throws late. Both sides traded blows over the next 2 games, setting up a potential closeout in Game 6 on June 19th at Staples Center. The Lakers trailed 56-53 at halftime and by 5 heading into the fourth quarter. But with the title within reach, they erupted for 37 points in the final frame to clinch the franchise's 12th championship and their first since 1988.
Reggie turns and pumps it up off the rim, and the Lakers are the 2000 NBA. They're going wild.
They did it by playing smart basketball, tying the NBA Finals record for fewest turnovers in a game with just 5. Shaq led the way with 41 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 blocks in 47 minutes, shooting 19 of 32 from the field. Unsurprisingly, he was named unanimous Finals MVP after averaging 38 points, 16.7 rebounds, 2.3 assists, and 2.7 blocks across the series. For the entire 2000 postseason, O'Neal averaged 30.7 points and 15.4 rebounds, with 3 separate 40-point games in the finals alone. And to top it all off, Shaq became just the 3rd player in NBA history to win MVP of the regular season, the All-Star Game, and the Finals in the same year, joining Willis Reed in 1970 and Michael Jordan in 1996. In 2000, Shaq didn't just win a championship, he reminded the basketball world what true dominance looked like. Not stats, not efficiency, pure, overwhelming, break-your-will dominance. The kind that makes grown men look helpless and changes the entire geometry of the game. 2000 wasn't just a great year for Shaq, it was the year he became inevitable. He was too strong, too quick, and too smart to stop, and he made sure everyone in the league knew it. But the question is, what if Shaq had stayed in shape and locked in longer? Could he have had the greatest run of all time? Where do you rank Shaq's 2000 run compared to peak seasons, from legends like Kareem, Hakeem, Wilt, Duncan, or Jokic? Let us know in the comments. We want to hear from you. And if you want to see more breakdowns of the moments that made basketball history, hit like, subscribe, and don't miss our next drop.